Yes, guys. It is Wednesday. You know what that means? It's One Laugh Wednesdays with the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, John Timmerman. This show, guys, works best if you guys participate. So your participation is key. The more you participate, the longer we go. If you're asleep, me and John, hey, we're gonna go to sleep too. You help the show be great. It's you guys that make it great. We're just the vessels that bring you the show. So on that note, I'm going to start our One Laugh Wednesdays with Johnny T. So sit back, relax, guys, and enjoy the show. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. Here we go. It's Johnny T is in the house. Hey, John, how are you on this Wednesday? Let me ask you, are you roasting marshmallows yet? How's the marshmallows in California? Are they coming, or are you guys? What's going on there? I hear there's fire.
Dude, not down my way. It hasn't been not too bad. Well, let me take that back. Was it last week I shot you that text, and yeah, that was interesting. They're dropping water just a mile away from us, but not too bad. I mean, they put it out. Weather's been actually really nice here in San Diego compared to what's going on in around the country right now. I'm off to Texas next week to go visit the Texas Center, and I mean, from what I hear, it's like it'd be like 95 with humidity of 75, 80, and I'm leaving San Diego at 70. So it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting.
Hey, watch if you walk around the pool in your bare feet, your feet will burn. That's a for sure thing. Yeah, you're kind of going to the that's hell, man. That's like going to hell when it's that heat, eh?
Oh, I've been there, I've been there numerous times, and yeah, for those who've never experienced, for us on the West Coast, many of us don't experience that kind of humidity, and it's brutal. It's definitely something that I wouldn't want to deal with every day. But then on the extreme, they had a convention in Arizona, and that was dry heat, but that was that Phoenix area. It's really, yeah, 105, 107 every day. So
Yeah,
yeah.
the birds gotta get conditioned to play in that heat because even if they let them out at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, a 200-mile race or whatever, it's always that last hour is what buries them, eh?
Well, you're right. I mean, what's interesting is this time of year, for these guys, well, they don't normally fly this time of year, but the race that I'm attending, I mean, the speeds are in the 12s. That's the training's always in the 12s. Not like when they fly, late December, January, when the speeds are 17, 18 plus. So it's totally different type of racing. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pigeons, will handle it.
Yeah, they got to make sure that they work them in that heat, or they ain't going to come when it gets there. But you know what? That's what makes it fun, and that's an interesting part of a race, playing in that kind of heat. I mean, it's totally different than like you say how those races are in January or in February. They're just blowhomes. But hey, it is what it is, right? That's pigeon racing.
Oh, that's pigeon racing, right? I mean, nowadays, I think overall, I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get. And it doesn't matter if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, Northern Cal, Southern Cal. I mean, it's a day to day thing now. And you just do your best, and hopefully, you got the right athlete in the race to handle the conditions. And as a handler, you hope that you get a fair day to race. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah. Lou, hey guys, nice to see you on, John. Hope your one loft training is going well. Lou, I don't know. We can ask John this question. John, you're not training yet, correct?
No, there's no training yet. My birds right now, the flights are they're just now in between a quarter and a half. So technically, in the past, I wouldn't even let them out. Um, but the last couple of years, with pigeons coming in a little, a majority of pigeons coming in later, I got to get them out. So they are handicapped, and we just, there's always someone's on standby babysitting them, making sure that we don't get hit with the hawk or anything spooking them. But as of right now, no, there's no training. I mean, training's out 5, 6 weeks still.
Now, question, I had a few people ask me, and I wanted to ask you, for people wondering, why don't, when you get the birds in, why don't you pull the flights or cut and pull the flights like right away? Why do you wait for a certain amount of time? Is there a reason? Is there a method to the madness?
Yeah, there's a method to the madness. I mean, you always got to, it's always preferable to cut those flights 9 and 10, to make sure that there's no blood in the quill. And um, you want to give those pigeons an opportunity to settle and, flutter around a little bit before you actually, because they're handicapped, they're not going to be going anywhere. So, when you cut those flights, and depending on what you cut, if it's the 8, 9, and 10 or 9 and 10, you handicap them with one flight, and they already, they are dropping a flight. They're just missing two. They can still get around. Even with two flights missing, they'll still get around.
Yeah.
But that's just the way that I've always, we get into, uh, June, early June is when I like to pull them, and that gives us 5 weeks. And um, and I'm still waiting for them to fall apart in the molt. I mean, that hasn't happened yet. We haven't, like I said before, we haven't had when you usually get that heat wave, that pushes them to go a little faster in the body molt, and that right now that hasn't happened for us.
Yeah, so you're just waiting for the now. So the flights are what? How far are they starting to like? They're starting to come up though.
Oh yeah, they're quarter to halfway out already.
Yeah.
So I figured another week they'll be babied a little bit more. I don't like to be honest, when they're 3/4, a little over half, I don't like that. I don't like the 9 and 10, dangling. I'd rather wait a little while, and let it come out a little bit longer.
Now at this time, because I mean, I guess you would say what in the next three by within about the 3 week period, they should start to want to really start to fly, right?
Oh
Would you
yeah,
say?
yeah, they're ready to. Yeah, I mean, you got birds eager to go now already, but they're handicapped, and you don't want. You have to be careful that they don't get too ornery, and then and you don't get that they don't get spooked, and that they don't want to go. But this whole process for me is just basically, keeping control of the flock, and letting them understand what's expected as far as calling them in and going out and that type of thing.
Well,
It's not, it has nothing, the loft fly, that's going to come in time. So, that's another thing, is that when those birds are starting to mold, I don't want them, I don't want them flying long. I don't want it. I try to prevent any stress as possible. All I want the birds to do is, be happy, and get as familiar as possible, and not be spooked by anything. That's what I'm working on.
now when you're at this time, this is just a question, because I mean, there's not much for them to do, but they kind of go what? They go to the ground, they go up, they might do the odd low circle and land, right?
Yeah.
Do you, at this point, will you start, and this is just a thought, I mean, I'm always thinking, but would you start practicing them to self-load themselves into the trainer, or do you not
In
even
another
worry about that yet?
No, in another week I will be doing that. I'll be running them out the chute. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
And just
It's because it's a process. It's a process. I mean, the Royal Cup, we have a chute that's low to the floor. The California, it's 2 foot off the ground, and yeah, to get them to get up and jump and go, it's the more they do it, the better they get. But it's a process.
yeah, I find with even my birds here, I tap the stick and they go into the baskets. And I find it takes about 7, 8 times of doing it. And I find when the birds are not used to being in a basket in general, like when you put birds into a basket for a first time, they're bouncy, jumpy, they're wild sort of in the basket. And then as they get comfortable with the basket, they just kind of do it on their own. And I know one thing, you're better to do it before you start training. Like you're not even thinking about road training. But what I like is, and guys, for people listening, it's called being proactive. Instead of waiting till he's going to start training, he's going to start to teach the birds now, even though they're just going into the chute or going into the truck. Sides are open, the birds can go in, go out, whatever. Very smart. Getting the birds familiar, getting the birds comfortable, and it makes it good so when you're ready to start, it's nothing new to them. It's just go, you know? So
Absolutely.
I think that's very, very interesting. Now, I have another question. Just a question. When you start training short, okay, your short tosses, do you loft fly them before you take them training, or once you start training, it's just load them and take them?
Well, here's the tricky part: is that when I get into middle of August, we start getting that monsoon weather, and it starts getting very, very hot. And when you usually get this monsoon weather in my neck of the woods, you got a 2 hour, 3 hour window where it's nice, it's calm, it's clear.
Okay.
You get to 11 o'clock in the mountains and the hills, then it starts getting kind of overcast, and it's like a storm. It is a storm.
Okay.
So yeah, in the beginning stages, the pigeons aren't really going to be flying phenomenal yet. It doesn't happen. Not, I don't know. That's always been something because of maybe the terrain. Well, I know it's the terrain. Me being in a bowl, valleys and valleys and valleys. So all I'm doing is building confidence. Once those birds are stretched out 3-4 miles, then they think they're professionals. Then they're just the flock's going. And basically, when I get to that 12th, 13th toss, then those pigeons don't even, they come home and then they just condition themselves, some for a half hour, some for an hour. And, I just, I let them work up to that. I don't, it's more important for me to get the pigeons into the crate because you're talking a big number, to be calm. And if I have the time in the beginning stages, I like to cut them loose. In the old days, it used to be 50 to 100. Now it's, a 200, 250 at a whack. And you do that as early as possible because, like I said, that heat's coming on, and then you got that monsoon weather. I mean, when you got 95-degree weather, you usually got, you got a window in the morning at 6:37. It's usually about 70 degrees still. 8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around, and now you're in the, high mid 80s, 90s. So, yeah, it's more important just to focus on the short tosses because tomorrow will be another day, and you just keep going and hoping that the weather will, taper off with the heat and we'll see what happens this year. I mean, they got all kinds of forecasts, and not for the good, but I just like, for me, I mean, I'm probably starting 4 weeks, 5 weeks earlier than what I should, but I do that just to give the birds enough time to be comfortable and learn the ropes, so to speak, and also because I don't know what kind of weather we're going to get in 5 weeks, or I would say from now, 2 months. What are we going to get? Are we going to get more heat? Are we going to get more monsoon weather? Or are we going to get fires? I don't know. but I like to get a base on them as quick as possible.
Yeah, I get you. So, um, again, you're gonna start loft flying them, and then when you're with this group, when do they tell you they're ready to go? Is it the rambling, or you just see them the way they're loft flying? What is there some key telltale signs when you say, okay, these birds, I can put them in the truck and take them. I can take them.
Um,
I'm not so worried.
you know, well, when I get to that flagging point, and I mean, I just tap on a stick, they just go. Last year, I did that with the Royal. I didn't do so much with the California, but I'll go back to my old ways where, I broom them up, and that's an effort in itself because you're always going to get there's always 10% of the pigeons that don't like to fly, or they're going to be stubborn, or they don't got it. But you try to be fair to
Hmm.
everybody, and you try to get them going.
Yeah, I find that those pigeons. I mean, every race has it. Every loft has it. I mean, if a guy has 100 birds, you could have two or three or five that are like that. Or, I know one loft. You have 800 birds, you got maybe 30 of them that are like it, 40 easy, and it really is frustrating because it really screws the group, because the group, they're basically like flying with droppers. But what can you do? That's part of the game. And if people that don't race their birds around the loft, they never understand what you're saying. Well, how can my birds be lazy? The pedigree say they can't be. Hey, there's always a lazy one, isn't there, John?
Well, that brings us to another point where, for me, everybody, I don't want to say everybody, guys get excited. They want to see the clocking at 2 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles. And I just, those that have been in the race, they kind of know that, yeah, I start training middle of August, but, really I don't turn the clock on until middle of third week of September, four
Hmm.
weeks out. And a lot of that has to do with just because you're letting birds go in smaller groups. You're not calling birds in to race. This is just training. This is just, yeah, if those birds want to stay out for an extra 45 minutes and fly, let them fly. I don't want to call them in. You should just be more concerned with an inventory at the end of the week to see what you got, because every day is going to be something different that's going on.
Yeah, I think people too, they get so caught up in it's nice to be, it's always nice to see your name up at 2 miles or 10 miles, or it's just nice to see your name at the top of the sheet. But people sometimes forget, hey, he's letting them out in groups. Or, I would prefer my birds, hey, if he come home and he wants to play for an hour and go out and play, it's more beneficial to the pigeons. And sometimes I think people watching, they hold too much into those clockings, and then all of a sudden, maybe you lose the bird or something, and they go, "Oh, the bird was first and first and first and first." Sometimes on those short tosses, that's not a good thing, because birds that
That's
want to, they don't do nothing. They just come in and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why your best bet is not to pay attention to any of it and just wait till you get it, 2 months down the road, and then you can start following and getting into it, because really these preliminary training tosses, and they're just conditioning. That's all it is. And a lot of people get the hype and they want to check things out. I get it. I mean, myself included, I like to see, but means nothing. You just got to wait, and it's you know, training pigeons is patience.
Yeah.
You move them out too quick, and you're gonna have a disaster. And and in my situation where I'm at, yeah, if I I'm hoping that the weather works with me, and then we'll be in good shape. But you make a wrong turn, and you're not gonna drop a few. You're gonna drop, an army. And it's happened.
Yeah.
You know. And sometimes I don't know. I mean, the theory, well, you drop some duds, but no, you lose some good ones as well.
Hey,
You
you
know.
lose good ones and you lose duds, because you know what? And people forget this. Good person or a good pigeon can have a bad day. And when they're unexperienced, you can't say they're good or they're bad. It's not fair. They're not experienced enough yet. And good pigeons have bad
No.
days. Bad pigeons have good days, and they get lucky, okay, and they follow the right way. Then all of a sudden, those bad pigeons will have a bad day too. And people don't think about it like that. The first thing they'll say is, "I lost all the dummies." I don't believe that. I believe, hey, they made a mistake. They're living they're living beings that are unexperienced. And I mean, how many times and people think about this? How many times are you graded that hard? You know, when a pigeon makes a mistake, John, he don't come home, does he? Doesn't.
No, no. I mean, in my neck of the woods, I mean, pigeons. I say it all the time. We get to 10 mile. When I get to the 5-10 mile mark, and there's all these different valleys. I mean, if pigeons make a mistake with me, they're flying at 200 or 300. And what I mean by that is they'll be hours on the wing. Not all. Sometimes, there are those few that go sit, but there's a lot of pigeons they can't figure it out, and that just takes time. That's why I do the repetition over and over, and I don't even like to show it because people get, if they really see what I do, then they're just gonna go, man, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I've heard it.
Oh,
I've heard it all. Like I said, I've heard it in the past, and now you see guys, they spend more time. And if you got a little bit of an easier course and you do that, you're not going to lose birds.
yeah. Hey, you know what? I appreciate you taking the time. And guys, you are going to see this training video, okay? You're going to see this man's about, I think it's the first 20 miles or 25 miles. And then we even go out to we went to about 25 miles, but you see the windy bullshit road that John's going to take this trailer down, up and down, swerving through the little mountains and the canyons. You see it, and you'll really get an appreciation for what he's doing because you know what? It's a lot of bullshit small repetition, and he doesn't have to do it, but he does it for the birds and for the race. And so you guys have birds there. If he skips a few steps and drops the hammer too quick, adios. And John, you know it. You can't do that,
Oh yeah.
especially in your area. You have to respect the birds and the land and slow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mother Nature will get you. I mean, it always
Oh,
does. So you try to be
yeah.
as careful as possible. I mean, even like last year, I mean, uh, the birds were well trained. Everything was going well until we dropped in the desert, and it was just a warmer day, and so I won't make that mistake again. We're all just wait. I mean, sometimes you think, well, I got a window of opportunity, 2 hours when you're at 60 miles, and they got it's a learning curve, and well, they could do it, but something goes wrong. If it's headwinds coming up a pass, or if the falcon hits the flock, no, it's going to be a long day. And that particular last year was a long day.
All right, we got some comments here. Les Gerard says, "Good evening." Heather Collins says, "Good evening." Hey, Heather. Alan Daniel says, "Well done, Ryan." And I won $90 on the race. Roll it on till Saturday. Yeah, we race on Sunday, but yes, we'll roll it over for you. Don't worry. Congratulations, guys. Or Alan, picking on the pickbird. Kevin Hoffman says, Hoffman Racing, hey, how are you guys doing? We're doing pretty darn good, and thanks for tuning in. Kevin Hoffman also says, I've been flying my Youngbird team at close to 8 p.m. at night because the weather in New York, he says, is roasting. That's okay. Remember, in the book, you can fly them in the morning and you can fly them in the midday and you can fly them at night. There's no book to say nighttime's wrong, midday's wrong, or morning's wrong. It's no, you're not going to be, it's okay. Uh, who is this? Kate, Kate Man says, hey guys, thank you for what you guys do. Hey, thank you for tuning in. John, okay. Oh, Lou says, John, with so many birds, once you start taking them out for tosses, I'm sure you're going to lose birds, but actually track whose birds are gone. Well, John, John, okay, so people don't understand. You're doing right now, I see on Win Companion, what is it, a weekly inventory?
Yes.
Okay. So every week you're posting up an inventory. Now, through the week, birds are going up, down. If a hawk gets one, whatever, you're going to see it on the inventory. Now, when you do training, like you just said, you don't do for your 2 mile trainers or 1 mile trainers, you don't run the clock every time, do you?
No, same thing. Like I said, I just do it weekly. It's just an inventory because it's a process. I mean, 5 miles, 10 miles, or I should say 2, 3 miles, 4 miles. This is just a learning curve. This is basically trying to dial those birds coming out of a trailer, getting them to where you're calling them down to go in, or basically letting them condition themselves, routing and going and just working on the birds to make them as happy as possible. That's all the beginning step is all about. I'm not in a position to rush them out to 100 miles quick. It does, once I get them out 50 miles 5, 6 times, I can run them out real quick. But for me to get to that 50, 60 miles, it's 6 weeks of work. Easy. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds crazy, but that's what it takes.
Yeah. And again, I think with all the birds too, and I think with the valleys, and I think for your somewhat of your sanity, John, you know as well as I do. I'm sure there's people once you start posting up the results, people call you, "Oh, my bird's not there today," or this or that, or this or that. And I think at the beginning stages, birds are making a few left, wrong rights, and wrong turns, and it's going to fluctuate. So just run it once a week because there's birds you're going to take. They make a bad move, they're not there. Tomorrow they're there, and
That's
and
right.
people
Yeah.
just relax, just relax. I would say what, John, you can start to focus once you get out about 50 miles.
Yes. Once I get over the hump, 40, 50 miles, that's when you really start watching. But, and once I drop into the desert, now you're going to watch the pigeons. The first one or two times in the desert, the same thing. I mean, you get pigeons that won't climb the 4,000, 4,500 elevation, and some of that's because they got a headwind to come out of the desert. And so what are they going to do? I don't know. I mean, are they flying more towards the south, towards Mexico? Are they going towards the north? I mean, all this stuff will happen. I mean, I've had this conversation with a few older guys before. I think like a lot of races, they could get out to 100 miles and everything looks perfect, but they never had a rough toss. Whereas my pigeons, or I should say the team, either race, they're going to get the wing time. Before the 100, they're going to get the wing time. They're going to make mistakes on the terrain. Especially the second time into the desert, birds usually are all day. But to be fair, I got to have a good day with temperatures being mild, not now what they are. And that's been a little bit of a factor the last couple of years where that heat has continued on until, late October, beginning November. Whereas in the past, it kind of went away 1st of October. So, that becomes a real challenge.
You
Because
know,
I'm not talking 70 degrees, 80 degrees. Akatia, you're talking 110 degrees, 115 degrees, and it's 90 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, yeah, you just, you want to do it. You try to push it. You think you got a cool breeze, but no, you got to, I just learned I'm just not going to do that. I'll keep them shorter. I'll keep them at 40 because it's weird. Elevation wise, it could be, like I said, 90 degrees first thing in the morning on the floor of the desert, but up in the mountains, it's 65, and you're talking only 15 miles of a drive.
when I played there in Canada in our area, we had a real big lake. It was like 25 miles across, 25 deep, big. And we were dead in the middle of the water on the other side. And I always found I would train the birds on one side of the water, uh, the side that whatever. But I'd go around. But when I took them over that water, I kind of made it a point to always pick the first time or two, which was going to be a 70-mile toss, and they'd have they'd have about 30, 25 miles before they hit the water. I would always try and make sure the first time or two I'd have a good strong tailwind. I want them to get up high enough,
Yeah.
and they see the picture, right? Because I found if I took them in headwinds the first time or two, they'd come up to the water, and then if you tried to jump the water the first time without working your way around one side, they just go back and forth. And they would be too
That's right.
stupid to know to go around. So I cut off the corner of the corner a couple times so I knew at least one side of it, right? And I found once I tried them on tailwinds and they did it twice, then you could just drop them in a headwind. They go right across the water. And they'd cross the water because you knew it in the time and how long the birds took. They had to do the time correctly. And I'm going to ask you this question. When you get into the desert, are you sometimes at first, I mean, are you looking for that tailwind day just to say, hey, I want to help these birds climb? I want to help?
It just depends. You know, the later in the year the tailwinds come, but in the beginning it's not so much. So yeah, you could always use that help. It makes it great when when you're pushing it, when you're moving them out there. But sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and you just keep going. But as I mentioned, last year was just a challenging, it was a challenging year. Um, so you learn from it and you just say, well, I'm just going to hold off. I have to hold myself. I have to condition myself to hold off, because you got to look at it. I put all this time into it from March until now, and then we're talking another 2 months later. Sheesh, you got 6 months into something, and just to blow the birds away for a lousy hour and a half hour toss. It doesn't make
Oh,
sense.
yeah.
So
I know.
you just have to weigh it out sometimes, and that's where the way pigeon racing is going with the weather. I haven't seen it this extreme. I mean, not just in young birds, but old birds as well. I mean, it's changed, right? It's changed for all of us. I mean, right now, you're in Europe, what you guys are going through, it affects everything that we're doing. So, not to make any excuses, all we do is prepare, and in the end, everything's got to adapt to it. It's change, and the pigeons have to adjust. I mean, that's basically what it's all going to come down to.
Yeah. Okay, some comments here. Chad Ward says John does a good job on training them to come through the valleys. Thank you, Chad. And this gentleman asks here, Ryan and John, how do you guys feel about Ken Easley as an OLR player? John, how do you
Um,
feel about Ken? Am I supposed to know
Ken,
something?
no, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Ken's been, he used to fly with me years ago. I mean, I'm actually, I'm participating down in Guadalajara, and there's like 30 lofts that are participating in it. Ken's in that, and he's done well. You got to hand it to him. I mean, uh, he's one of the breeders out there trying to get into the best. And so you have to admire that with any of these guys that are selling pigeons, that if they're maybe it is a business. Of course it's a business, but for good pigeons to come to the States and it gives people an opportunity, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? He goes out there, he plays, he invests. It's more than a hobby, I think. I mean, he's got the money to do it. He's got the passion to do it. He's willing to take the risks of doing it, and you can't knock people for doing that. I think it's good. Um,
I know though, he brought in some pigeons. It's been already probably like 10 years, maybe longer already, those pigeons from South Africa. And in my neck of the woods, there's been quite a few guys that have done really, really well with that. What the hell's the name of that? I can't think of the name of it, but it was a pigeon that flew South Africa, and I believe it was fourth in the trap.
was it
Should have
Collins?
won the
No,
race. Hmm?
Was it not a Kong bird or something? Was it? I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know the
and
one.
actually, there's a few guys in Europe, trying to chase those pigeons down to, blend into the one-off race family. But like I said, when you have people that are willing to spend some big dollars on some good pigeons and, share them amongst, of course there's a cost, but still share them amongst the people that are in the States. I think it keeps it interesting. It gives us all something to look forward to. Not just the guys that buy them, but then the guys that are flying against them.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? It's great to have guys that are like that and bring those birds in. And again, in the States, he's got to be one of the top one loft guys. Uh, not he buys, he plays, he participates, he's bringing birds in, and he's not afraid, and he backs it up. He's getting the results. So all for him. Not, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And you know what? He seems, whenever I see him sometimes on camera, he seems pretty calm. So, you know, hey, fine by me. Some questions here. Just to let you know, Belgium and Senegal are tied 2-2. Okay, it's good. Marcel's still awake, and Marcel's going to owe me some more beers. Uh, Finley says, how many races are in his OLR calendar, Ryan? And what's the setup in the distance of the hotspot races towards the final? So, John, Finley here, he's a guy from the UK. He's on our show. A little breakdown of your race, hotspot races. How does it, for guys wondering, what's the step up? And John explains it well.
I mean, we train up to 110 miles, and then the first, I would say, hotspot, we fly a 140, a 190, and the race is 300, and then we come 2 weeks later with the 350. And the 140 is basically I do it kind of backwards in the sense that it's just an average speed race. And then, which after the 140, you pay your entry fee. And then we fly the 190 with some prizes. And then we come back and we fly the 300, which is the main race. And then the 350, we call that the second wind. And all pigeons, this is just for the California. All pigeons are open to fly that. If you wish as a breeder to pull your bird, you can. But money was paid for in the beginning when you sent your perch. And so a portion of that will go to that last race. So
Okay.
there's always a tendency to be 100, 150,000 in that 350 with just a quarter amount of the pigeons left racing for that.
Right. And on your final, like, I mean, your main for Finley, the main payout is that final 300. That's where what 90% of the money goes,
Um,
or
yeah,
75%.
yeah, 75, 80% of the money that, entry fee, yes, 100%. Now, like the 350, you're paying that $50 in the beginning.
Hmm.
And if a pigeon is left, say you as a breeder, you have 3 left that made it back from the 300, you're paying $100 a bird to fly that 350 for another opportunity of winning 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you can't beat it. I mean, the second wind is something that it's pretty unique. It's been done for, like I said, over 20 years now, and it's a good race. It's interesting where there's some breeders that will hit that race, and it's only it's an extra hour on the wing. You might ask, well, why is the final not a 3? And the reason is just because that time of year for us in November we don't have too much daylight. It's darker. It starts getting dark at 4:30. So 4:15. So even when we fly a normal race, we get birds around 1:30. If it's a tough one out of 3, it could be 2:30. So that only gives you an hour and a half window to get those pigeons from a 3. So that's why it's done that way.
Yeah, and John, let me ask you, from birds that finish, the birds that finish, you have a very good rating of getting the birds to the three. Your threes are good. It does separate the men from the boys. But when you get to that second wind race, do you find that extra hour, that little bit more desert, or that little extra does it really separate quite a few birds? Do you find a lot of birds have a very hard time with it?
No, not really.
You know?
In the old day, that was another thing. In the old days, when Ron, when I'm talking when Ron Steinbrenner was still alive, we used to race from Tucson, which brought the course further to the south. And we predominantly fly a course from east to west, but we do get winds coming from the north, and we'd have a tendency for those pigeons to be pushed south. And so when you flew a 350 further into the south, you get even more harder races. So now we're still flying in Arizona, but we fly to the north. They call it Globe, and it's a higher elevation. It's still, anybody that's been there is shocked on how these pigeons are able to really navigate their way home. Um, and yeah, it's challenging. I enjoy the 350 because the pressure's kind of, I don't want to say completely off, but you're there to fly pigeons, and those guys that come, I mean, usually we have a couple hundred people, 200, 300 people race day. The 350 usually about 25, 50, the locals, and we just have a good time and talk story. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's your favorite one. Yeah, that's the end because I can see it. I know on race day there, I seen John when he was there. Just the amount of people and the internal pressure. I can't imagine how that feels when you got that many people. I haven't had that many people at a race before, but your race, I look at it and I scratch my head. I go, man, you got to give this guy credit. Keeps it calm, keeps it cool, keeps the birds coming in with so much money on the line and so many people right up close. It's like front row seats. And this really separates it from a lot of one-off races. And I noticed that about the races in San Diego. Your race, uh, the 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 San Diego Holiday Cup, now the Triple Crown, and the Triple Crown at that time. You guys can get nice and close and really feel like you're part. You almost feel the birds coming over you. It's that close. And with all those people, you do a really you put it together good job, but a lot of pressure. We got some comments here. What are we saying? Oh, okay, the weather in Nebraska is shitty this year. Okay. Uh, Aloha, John and Ryan. Great job. I fly in Hawaii on the Big Islands. We get a lot of headwinds here, and lucky to get tailwinds. But fly through the mountains, wind changes. Okay. Mike Peebler says he has a Kong bird. And
That's
he's,
it,
yeah,
Conbird.
that's what I said. I said Kong,
Yeah,
Kong,
that's
Kong
it.
bird, and
But
Alphonse Claus.
yeah, that pigeon is really, I'd say the last 5 years, it's done a lot of winning. There's an old man, Ron Moden, put him on the map, and I know there's a few other guys up 100 miles north of me. Joe Perez, Juan Gomez, they've all had some of that blood, and it's changed their results, especially when they got to the tougher ones when they got to the distance, old birds and young birds. So it was a good bird.
Yeah, Finley gives a thumbs up. He liked that. Yeah, and guys, if you are anywhere in the world and you want to have a pigeon week of racing, the week in San Diego is fantastic. Now, John, I gotta ask you guys a question. Are you guys still doing the loft auctions?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's tapered off, but what we've done in the past, I mean, it's so funny. I had guys throw stones at me. Paul Daniels was one of them, and now he flipped it to where he does it, and now he shared that with the Hoosier, and now they do it. But when we brought it on, especially with these number of lofts participating, because you're talking 300 lofts, we broke it down to 5 birds or five lofts per lot. So
Oh,
in some cases we would do 8 lofts per lot being auctioned off, and it just made it that much more entertaining. So, and like in my neck of the woods, you got Patty with her syndicate of 4 gals, and then you got another table with 4. You know, it just what you're doing is you're bringing people together. You know, some fellowship, and they're just enjoying themselves. So yeah,
yeah.
we still do that.
And for people coming, they can go at the loft auction. You don't have to have any birds in the race. Buy a couple lofts and win some money, eh?
Yeah, well, you know, most of the people that are participating are buying them, and you know, they syndicate. It's just like I said, something it's something of the past where a lot of guys don't, you know, they never participated in anything like that. Um, but that's what, you know, that's what made San Diego, because back in the day, they actually would have to, you know, if they sold individual breeders, individual lots, and if you bought that person's lot, you owned the bird.
Yeah. You know what? I remember the first time I was there, and okay, they did this and they started selling the lofts. And some lofts went sky high. Some lofts, the odd loft didn't sell. I mean, hey, I bought my own loft. I got lucky as a winner. But it was great. Then at the end, they put all the lofts that didn't sell together, and that would normally go for big money. And
Yeah,
always somebody was winning on that.
that was Irma. Irma would always win on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? It's fun. If you don't have birds, you can still play. But the week is great. Come down, and all the races. You guys are going to do it. Even the Royal Cup's doing it for the
The
Triple
Royal
Crown.
Cup, no, I mean, I should, but it's because it's the beginning of the week. We just kind of, you know, unfortunately, we're pressed for time, and so like for example, this particular year, the way we have it set up, you know, the first race would be shipped on a Tuesday for a Wednesday race, which is the Triple Crown. So there will be a viewing for that, and then there's Thursday for Friday, and then Saturday is the California and the Royal. Now, because the weather's been so jacked up the last few years, I mean, we're trying to really be careful on what we do and make sure that we get some good races that go off. Um, Saturday will be Royal Cup with a viewing of the birds for the California Classic in the morning, and then Royal Cup birds come back, and then Saturday night we go back to the hotel for all the other stuff that we just talked about. And then
Okay.
Sunday will be the California. So the California Classic will be either flown Sunday or Monday, depending on what we see weather-wise. Now, because I'm blocked for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You know, we won't know anything until we actually get 24 hours before the weekend. Um, we'll pick our days between those three, which is going to be the most beneficial for everybody. And like last year, we only had one decent day to race, so we did a double header. And if that holds true again, then so be it. You know, with the weather. And then Minor is scheduled to fly his last race on Tuesday.
And it's a week of
So
racing.
yeah, it's just, I mean, and we've done all this just because, we've gone through it so many times with just a handful of pigeons, and, people are coming in town to see birds. So, we gotta accommodate that as best as possible.
And they do a great job. Randy says, great race today, Ryan and team. Thank you. Uh, uh, Hello, Mr. Timmerman. Keep up the great work as always. Yes. Awesome. And a super job hosting your events. He says the same thing. Uh, he does. John puts on a great spread, great event. If you feel like you're going to a resort, to be quite honest. Uh, uh, this is a question. Do you see OLRs ever evolving into separate amateur and professional levels?
Yeah, you have races out there like that where, there's races that are catering to that. Um, I know in Florida there's a few. I know there, in my jurisdiction there's some smaller lofts, trying to go in that route and meeting new people, and I think you go overseas, that's where you're taking the guys that have been in the game a long time. So trying to win, we're all trying to win.
Yeah, I don't know, amateur. Maybe you say the cheaper races, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think. I mean, John's a professional. Like I'm going to say, one thing, John. I'm going to say this. And this is a real. I think this is a real compliment. You guys can go anywhere. You can go to Pattaya. You can go to Africa Pro. You can go all over. I don't care. But for your dollars and your cents, and for the quality, your race is one of the very best races in the world. It's very cost efficient. And the guy you see on the screen, he's the feeder, he's the waterer, he's the brains behind it. He puts it all together. He's doing it. He's there. He's a professional pigeon man. And yeah, he has his help, but he takes it all. He's right in there, start to finish. He doesn't pass the buck. And again, I say for the price, going to Pattaya, for instance, to me, it's a lot of money. uh and I don't have that same feeling. I like this race. It's big enough, but yet it's small enough to have that feel, that feeling.
Well, it's
You
more of
know the
a
law. You know the guy, there he is.
yeah, it's
I
just
don't know.
more it's more personable. That's
that's
what
that's
it
what I
comes
wanted
down.
to say. Yeah. George says, love your show. Great job. Hey, thank you. Belgium 132. Marcel, if you are watching, I told you the score would be 3-2. Yes, yes, yes. Fabian, great idea. Great questions. Yeah, questions are good. You guys are asking some pretty good questions. What else was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to ask you, what have you heard about the Triple Crown? How's that going there?
Um, Actually, Mon's doing. He's got his heart into it. He's actually been flying the birds a lot stronger, stronger than I would. But he was going to shut him down, I believe, this past weekend or in the next day or two. Started cutting flights. Again, we all have our own different philosophies, and Ahmad, he's a terrific handler. This man lives for pigeons. I mean, he's in
He
his mid
does.
60s. Yeah, dude. I mean, he's in his mid 60s, and again, he's another one. He's never left the sport. He's there to race birds. I mean, I've been, as far as the OLR, really in tune with all this, but Ahmad's done a little of both, where he's taking care of, the San Diego club, 4, 5, 600 pigeons, and then he's taking care of his own 200 old bird hen team. I mean, for a while, going back 10, 15 years ago, Ahmad was the one to beat. Um, recent years, things have changed, birds have evolved, programs have changed as far as healthcare programs. But as far as the pigeon man, you're not going to find anybody more compassionate than Ahmad. I mean, truly, for someone who, as an immigrant coming here, um, his life's pigeons, and even right now with these guys that are flying the Triple Crown, he's going to do everything he can to get the birds fit. But I tried to explain to him, in the end, you're still jumping those pigeons, a 1, 2, and a 3. You still got to have the birds. And, you know, um, he realizes that, but yeah, he's just, um, yeah, he's just, I don't know. He's hoping, he's hoping because he knows, he's fear. I mean, he's nervous, but that's what makes it fun,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
and for people wondering sort of what we're talking about, the Triple Crown is in this week of racing for people coming down. So John runs the Royal Cup and the California Classic. So John's playing with what? Roughly 24 to 2,500 birds, correct?
That's
Right?
correct.
And the Triple Crown that we're just talking about, that Ahmad is running, that race is, what do? They do a 100 mile. They skip a day, and then they do a 200 mile, and they skip 3 days or 4 days, and then they hit a 300 mile. So it's what is it? It's 600 miles of racing in a week,
That's correct.
and that's quite a
Yeah.
toll on those pigeons to jump them, jump them, jump them. And like you say, they all
Well,
just don't handle it.
and staying within your dates. I mean, that's the goal. Um, you know, you don't know what you're going to get. That's what makes it exciting. I mean, I wish we can go back to where the day is the day. You cut them loose and you go, and then, but now the way things have gone with the sport, we kind of just we give it a 24-hour window to race, and that's what we do. But 9 out of 10 times, like you take like the California Classic. In the 23 years that I had it going, I mean, I only changed the date one time in all those years. So,
Yeah. And hey,
and
that's what I said. Book your tickets, guys. It's the race. 99% goes on, and good or bad, hell or high water. Birds find a way to get there. Birds win some good prize money. The event is great. The question here: the Triple Crown is in San Francisco Bay Area. No, this is the real Triple Crown. This is the one in San Diego.
correct.
So hopefully that you can see that there. And again, if you come for the week, you're getting the week of the Triple Crown races. You're getting John's Royal Cup. You're getting John's California Classic. So far, between the two lofts, is one loft exercising better than the other, or they're both the same?
Everything's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's right now about the same. I mean, the pigeons are all getting anxious to fly, but they're all responding really well, which has actually been, we'll see. Once they really start flying, then they start getting cocky, and you got birds that want to stay out and mate and do all kinds of shit. But as of right now, there's a lot of control on the loft, so I'm happy with that. We'll just see in the next couple of weeks how that's all going to progress because it's yeah, like again, you just you do all this stuff to make everything go off good in November, but what happens tomorrow? Shit, we don't know. We don't know. You cut those as soon as you cut them loose, everybody's sitting good, and then all of a sudden, not one but two uh, hawks come and scare them up and shit, and you're all over the property.
This is an interesting question, John. You know it more than I do. You can go back to Ron's races because I guess this is now the first year they've brought this back. The question is, what are the returns like for the Triple Crown races? So, if they start off with, let's say, 400 or 500 birds going to race one, what do you, through your years, and we can use Ron as the telltale, what were the returns like normally on the 300s? Or how did
Well,
you notice it break down?
you got to keep in mind when Ron ran the race, he used to just train 75 miles and he would start the race series. Ahmad he's going at least 100, a buck and 125. Um, so the 100, right? He's going from a 125 to 100 as a piece of cake. Those birds will just be tuned up, and then he's going from the 100 to the 200. Um, it all depends what kind of weather we're going to be dealing with during this, during the week. There's been times when the percentage of the pigeons are great, but then there's times where we're sitting on the side going, "Wow, it is brutal," and it
Hmm.
has happened. I mean, we've been there in San Diego, and but we've always made it through, and we just keep going. But that's pigeon racing, and that's what makes it exciting. Um, but for sure, we've experienced some very challenging courses or challenging days and uh, tough races.
Yeah, and it was so funny at Ron's. You could always remember Sandy Sperlin. He would always get like the last bird at the 100 miles, and the bird would come in like at dark or the next morning, and then it would be basketed. And I remember this, and he get the first bird at the 200, and that would be the bird. And the bird was just the bird learned its mistake, and it tuned itself up, and when it was done, tired, finished, I'm going straight home. And it's so funny to see that when you race them a one, a two, a three that quickly, there's there's it's different pigeons. It's a different mindset. I think the pigeon's got to be very strong in the mind, and because that 100's nothing. It's those two jumps from two to three, and I think the threes where they really wobble in
Well,
that week.
absolutely, because I mean, a lot of it's just the topography of the course, let alone the winds, and it can make you or break you. And but there's pigeons that always come through, and that's what made, especially like the Triple Crown. I mean, 3 races in a week was never done before, and when they started it, it carried on. Ron carried it on for 30 years.
I often wonder how did it like how did was it dreamt up? Because and it's so funny throughout the world you don't see this race anywhere run like this.
It's basically because it was drawn up. Ron was one that used to attend the casinos often, and so this was a for the guy that's participating for big prizes. This was the way to go, um, because you just want to be you want to be one of the last birds still in the loft, being able to compete for that 300. It was all about the numbers. You were flying for big prizes with just 30 pigeons or 50 pigeons or 100 pigeons, not going up against 5,000, 7,000 birds. You're going up against just the 100, 200 pigeons. And that's what for the guys that used to go to the racetrack, horse tracks and racetrack. I mean this race was for them, and it brought in a lot of the guys across the United States.
Yeah. John, do you think in one off racing, do you think to be a good one off race, you got to have 2,000 or 3,000 or 9,000 birds? Do you think that's what it takes to make a good one off race? What do you think it takes to really make a good one off race? Does the size really matter?
You're right. I mean, it's about basically, catering to your people that are there, catering to people that are participants in the race. Um, you just want the right people to, you want a good clique of people that get along with one another and look forward to seeing each other and friendships being made, and of course having some good races. And I mean, guys like you just mentioned can easily guys getting pigeons like that, entering them to a race and seeing if they could, are they let alone can they survive, let alone win. That's what you're looking for. And guys like David Klossing or Namelka that have proven that with their family of pigeons over the years, and then prove again that those pigeons can win somewhere else. Well, now you got a pretty decent. Not only you got a good race with good prizes, but now you got a good race that's testing your birds into, you're leaving with something. Unfortunately, when it's tough, you're not coming home with much, and that's on our end. That is the challenge. That just becomes the yeah, what do I say to that? That's just part of it.
Yeah, I mean it's a serious like the course you race is a serious course, and the birds that come out of there, a lot of guys have said the birds that come out, if you bring them home and try breeding them, you normally get good pigeons. But again, it's the course, it's the work, and it's the times down the road. John gives those pigeons every opportunity to succeed. He doesn't drop the hammer. He's not lazy. He puts the work in. And you know what? That to me is a loft manager that I say I want to enter a race. When I see the guy putting the work in and doing the job, and I see the consistency after all those years, it's by far, I would say it's the best race in the United States, and I put this race in the world as one of the very best. I haven't been all over, I know that, but this man's track record, and the amount of years he's running it, the prize monies he's paid out, and like he said, hey, in all the years you've what been doing it 25 years, you've changed one time the date. That's a round of applause on getting those birds healthy, getting those birds to where they've got to be for that time, and allowing the people to have the confidence to come down and spend their hard earned money on a pigeon week because you've done the job. And not only you, Mon and Ron, you guys all put that together and kept your shit together. You know what I mean? That's a real uh, hands-on job, a great job. And, I don't know if people ever say thank you, but it's nice to see you guys do it the way you do it in San Diego. And I really mean that. And I say to people all the time, this is the race to get into.
Well, I appreciate that. It's our, it's been our contribution back to the sport. It's, and for myself, and I know Ahmad too, it's something that we always look back to to the old guys that started it here in San Diego, working together to form a clubhouse, let alone form the San Diego Classic, and then Ron jumping on board, and then later myself jumping on board, and all the years we've always worked together within the club. You got, you have your people that are opinionated, but amongst each other, no, we always, we always saw eye to eye, and we always worked together to, make our breeder, to do our best to make our breeders proud, and to give them something to look forward to, and that's what made it special, really, all that kind of stuff. And then, now, of course, with the pigeons, all these different things that were, Mother Nature is throwing at us as far as health, it's really it's becoming more of a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Finley, you're not thinking like a pigeon man, Finley. Come on, man. An interesting OLR would be only one bird entry, all the same age, entry intake 1 day. Okay, that's nice. Pigeon men cannot get that organized. Pigeon men will never be that organized. And the problem with one bird, I like it. It's great. You're going to have a lot of sour shoes. A lot of
Well,
sour shoes.
Finley, we do have that. We in San Diego, the classic. We in years past, we always had $1,000 pool, and
Yeah.
so, for the people that were there, and it'd be anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 guys in that. So it was a race within a race, and it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, yeah, and that it's better to do a pool, but to take one bird in from guys, it's a great idea, Finley. I know you're a hardcore guy, so it probably wouldn't bother you. It wouldn't bother me. You're just not going to have much prize money. You're going to have people really losing their shit. 'Cause that's how pigeon men are. Um, hey, Austin says, you're selling it well. I will be in it next year for sure. Hey, guys, I'm not selling it. I think I won $1,000 in John's race once. Played it 2 or 3 times. I did better in the Triple Crown or in the Holiday Cup at the time. But I always liked, I found John was John had her together, and going there and seeing it, and the food and the way everything was done, it was first class. And I don't have to be a prize winner to say, hey, that person's doing a great job. They deserve it. And that's why I've said it for 10 years. I've always said, if you're going in America and you want to play one-off races, you want no bullshit, this is the one. And it's the truth. So I don't sell nothing. You know what? You send your birds, or you just go down and take a look. And you'll see exactly what I mean. And the great part is, when you're done, you get your birds back. You want to play a second wind race, you can. You want to bring the birds back and breed out of them, you're going to get good quality pigeons to breed to go to other races. Because if you can win Johns or finish Johns, I think you can go anywhere on this planet, don't you, John?
Yeah, I mean, that's like I said, they got to come home, and it's difficult. 100%. It's not easy. It's not. There's been many guys that crashed and burned, and they become a hater, and I get it. But in the end, it's a challenge, and you gotta be a pigeon man to really love this. I mean, that's what it comes down to, because it's a challenge.
It's
So I
it's a
mean,
challenge, and you know what? Hey, you go in it the first year and you can't crack it. Don't cry. Try it again. Try it a couple times, and you'll figure it out. And then you know what? If you can get on that first drop at the final, or you can get your birds in that top payout or in that group of birds earning money, congratulations. Don't get down, don't get whiny, don't look for the excuse. Because there's no excuse. The birds, you gotta have good birds, you gotta have a little bit of luck, good birds, good day, and a little bit of luck. Because the handler, he's going to do the work. Now, John, before we wrap this up, so next week you're going to where? Texas?
yes. Wednesday I'll be
What?
gone. Wednesday I'll be gone. Or yeah,
You're gone Wednesday.
yeah. Unless you want me to do
So,
it over there.
well, hey, do you want to do the show over there? Do you have time
Oh,
or
I don't
no?
know. We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll see. We'll see what's
We'll
going
talk.
on.
So we don't know what we're going to do for next week's show, but you're going. Sorry
What
about that,
happened?
John. Oh, just it cut out. I had a call coming through. I had to cut it off. You have birds in the race.
I have a few. Yes.
Sorry about that, John. I'm just people call and they don't realize. So you got birds in the race. Good luck. We'll keep in touch. We're gonna let our people know. Maybe we'll change the day for next week. We'll figure out what's going on. Hey, I think that's a wrap for tonight. We'll give them a short one tonight.
It sounds good.
All
Hey,
right. Well,
how hot
hmm?
has it been over there for you? Is it still been in the 90s or what?
No, she backed off to about, I'd say about 70, 75. But she's going to
Okay.
go up at the end of the week, back up to the 90 part. So, you know what? It's fine. You really enjoy when she backs off, though. It's like, oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Sleep in peace. You don't need air conditioning when it's cool, but man, when she's hot, air is the key. So, anyways, anything else you
Well,
want to
just
say, John?
no. Just good luck with everybody when the training. That's a lot of these races are going to start training here in the next couple weeks. So the seasons for the OLRs will be starting here shortly.
Yeah, that's right. And let the fun begin, eh? Let the fun
Yeah.
begin.
You know, that's one of the things doing it for so many years. I mean, you look forward to the breeding, you look forward to the settling, you look forward to them racing or getting up ready to train, and then you look forward to the training. I mean, there's every few months there's something new to look forward to, and then in the end, you just like shit. I just want to break.
Yeah, when the second wind's
But
coming around, you're like, okay, birds are in. Everybody get
yeah,
out.
but you do it, dude. Just like this, my relationship talking to you and all that, it's just becomes part of you and you enjoy it. And it's no different when you get into these OLRs and you befriend people that are really into it. Um, it's great, it's good. It's all positive, and especially for the old timers that get into their 70s and 80s. It just they have something to do, especially now with Wind Companion or Benzene Live. They get to watch it and participate. I think I think it's only better as we progress.
Yeah, and
More and
guys,
more people are into it.
yeah, and guys, if you like what we do here at our loft with the shows, watching the birds come on race day, you're going to have that all at John's race. You're going to be able to see that and participate. If you can't make it, you will get to watch it. Um, but anyways, John, okay, I'm going to wrap this one up. We're going to talk. We'll talk sometime this week. Figure out what our plans are going to be for next week's show. So, guys, I want to thank you guys for putting in all your comments. One more comment here. Proven over the years that the pigeons who do well there go on to breed, to do good breeding. Well, great way to test your stock. Craig Hendrick says this is the race. He's saying it, eh? You got
He's the
you guys,
boar.
huh?
He's his nickname is the boar.
Hey, he likes your race, and he says it, eh?
No, Hendrick's a good guy. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. OLRs will only keep growing. Absolutely, yes, they will. All right, John. That's
All right, guys.
John. He is the
Thanks,
man
bud.
from the California Classic and the Royal Cup. I'm Ryan. You know me. I got to go to bed. John's going to go out and party because Belgium won. And did the Netherlands lose?
The Netherlands sucked, man. I mean, I
So,
was so
hey,
disappointed. That just shouldn't have happened. But I don't know. I have
hey,
a cousin. I have a cousin still in Holland that he said the coach will be fired, and I'm like, what? He goes, oh yeah, he should have been fired 2 years ago. I mean, I thought they were doing a great job up until this point, but the strategy, of course, for this last World Cup, for this last game they had with Morocco, yeah, it was just disappointing. But Morocco was, they could say what they will, but I thought Morocco played an outstanding game. So the
hey,
hell,
you know what?
it's the way it goes.
You guys from Holland, you can come over with us Belgians, okay? We're going on to the next round. Hey, look, flukes do happen, and tonight Belgium they fluked it right out of the park. I can't believe Senegal lost. Anyways, okay, we're not getting into sports. That's John. I'm
All right, bud.
Ryan.
Take
His,
care.
take care, John. Be safe, and thanks, guys, for all your comments. Bye for now, guys.
Thank you.